Thank you again, Mr. Speaker.
Lovely, lovely.
Mr. Speaker, I continue the Ministry of Sport. Mr. Speaker, I spoke about the football coaches, and I understand the boxing coaches have been getting problems to get their salaries. I would like some, explanation for that. And Mr. Speaker, in swimming, which is the minister's pet sport, we all know, many parents have been complaining that they have to take loans to pay for their children to attend the recent junior swim meet in Dubai, the World Junior Championships. I'd like to get an explanation for that, Mr. Speaker, because I'm hearing that in the swimming fraternity, the minister is being called the Minister of Bobel, not the Minister of Swimming. And this didn't come from me, this came from some concerned parents in the swimming fraternity. Mr. Speaker, the minister needs to come clean on where the money is being spent, because there's so much organizations complaining. I don't know what the problem is, but we are seeing in the budget that 700 million this year has been allocated to the Ministry of Sport, and we would like some more accountability in that ministry. This brings me to the recent success of Jehu Gordon, which the minister wants to take credit for, and I wish to remind this House that the success of all the athletes now is because of the Elite Athlete Program, which was implemented by a PNM administration under a PNM Minister of Sport. Mr. Speaker, the people are asking, the sporting fraternity, they are asking for more transparency in the operation of this Elite Athlete Program. Who are the athletes on this program, and how much money do they receive? This is taxpayers' money being distributed here, Mr. Speaker, and I believe that they have a right to know. Mr. Speaker, I got a note from a parent of an athlete, and I'd just like to point me to quote from this note, which states that, well, the minister will know who is Sean Roach. There's somebody named Sean Roach who is supposed to be the manager of Keyshawn Walcott, and the note states that they know that he has been approaching promising athletes, some who are already established or their parents, and lures them away from the existing club with the promise of money. They then fall under the elite funding program for promising athletes, and they compete for Rebirth Athletic Club. This club, Mr. Speaker, is a club that the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sport, Mr. Ashwin Creed, is affiliated to. And we have the names of some of these athletes who have moved from their clubs, and they are now in Rebirth Club because they are being recruited into that club. And some of them are Shaquille Waite, a javelin thrower who has been uprooted from his school in Tobago and is now attending QLC. Jamil James from Quantum, Michelle Yahi from Concord, and Elton Walcott. So the minister will need to make a check on that. But this person is going around, but the problem is the Ministry of Sports involvement, where it is being said that they form part of the promising athletes under the Elite Athletes Program, and they are attaining funds. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, people are asking for more transparency in this program, and I go back to Jehu Gordon's success in Moscow, Russia, in the World Track and Field Championships. Mr. Speaker, the athletes and officials went on this game and did not receive any money for food at the World Game. In other words, they did not receive a per diem. What the member for Orupuch East stated is totally different to a per diem. When you go abroad to represent Trinidad and Tobago as an athlete, and whatever, as an athlete or an official, you are granted a per diem by the Ministry of Sports. They did not receive a per diem. So many persons went to the games without receiving any funds, particularly for that game, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Jehu was successful and did well by earning a gold medal. And permit me to read from Newsday, dated 16th of August, 2013, and the headline is as follows. Sport Minister Anil Roberts had one word to describe it. Wow. Mr. Speaker, Minutes after Trinidad and Tobago's Jehu Gordon 21 sprinted to victory in the 400 meters hurdle finals at the AAF World Track and Field Championships in Moscow, Roberts expressed elation. First of all, wow, Roberts told Newsday. What an absolutely perfect race. Brilliant execution, mental toughness. It was a thing of beauty. It was artistry in motion. What an Ironman race. What an incredible, mentally tough finish. End of quote, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, I am not so sure if he was really, if the wow was really, because he knew that he did not get any podium to go with, to have his food, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the officials who went on that tour are indeed very upset that they too did not receive any money. And I want the minister to say that is not true. The officials did not receive any podium.
Will you give
I am aware that once you're on national duty, you are supposed to receive a podium, regardless of what lump sum the ministry might have given you as an elite athlete. But when you go to represent Trinidad and Tobago, that is a different category, and they are supposed to be given. And I am aware of that because even my cousin was on that team to Moscow, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister must treat all. I'm not sure if I have the time to give you, or else I would have. You want 10 seconds? Okay.
It is not true that per diem is for the NGBs to go ahead. The ministry funds the overall team. The ministry paid $1 million for all athletes and officials to go, separate and apart from the elite funding. That's how they went. How the per diem and thing is divided is up for the entries to decide. The ministry gave $1 million.
Okay. Well, Minister, I only understand that the ministry paid for the airfare. That money went to the airfare for the group, the contingent, but they were not given a podium. Okay? That is what took place. All right? So the minister needs to look into that. Mr. Speaker, the minister must treat all sporting bodies with the respect which they deserve. He needs to stop fighting with them, withholding money from sporting organizations because of personal conflicts. You know, because at the end of the day, it is athletes who suffer. If it is cricket, it's hockey, water polo. You want me to name more? Many more, Mr. Speaker. Okay? I am aware, well, I spoke about the 2 searches that took place. I'm not sure if it's because of all this talk, these searches have been taking place for Minister of Sports. And I will welcome you at the back of me very soon, it seems. Mr. Speaker, I would like the minister to mend fences with sporting organizations. And as I said before, the minister needs to remember that he has a duty and responsibility to all athletes. And, I mentioned before that, sports is for all and not some. And when the minister spends the nation's money, there must be no discrimination among sports, no discrimination among athletes, and may I also add discrimination among constituencies, which is taking place right now. It is indeed our sincere hope, Mr. Speaker, that when the Auditor General's report for 2013 and beyond is released, we would not have to deal with the alarming discrepancies which we saw in the 2012 report. And the Auditor General's report is not just for reading, it is for holding people accountable, and based on the scandalous actions which we see. I'm not too sure who is at fault. It may not be the minister, it may be persons in his ministry and so on, but based on that report, the minister has to be held responsible, Mr. Speaker. And we are hoping that many people now would be held responsible, and that we must start with the minister. And that is my part on the Ministry of Sport.